KTVB's platinum anniversary coming up this summer in July. But 30 years ago, in July of 1993, you know what we were getting ready for? The sesquicentennial celebration of the Oregon Trail. And KTVB was getting ready for that celebration by premiering a brand new show called Exploring Idaho. A show they hoped would inspire 1990s viewers to do some exploring of the state of their own. Well, we've dusted off a few of these old episodes over the last few weeks to highlight some of the things Idaho's News Channel 7 has done during its 70 years of broadcasting. In that first episode, the crew took us to some of the historical spots along the 580-mile Idaho stretch of the Oregon Trail, including sections where the wagon ruts are still showing, where, as Dee Sarton put it 30 years ago, you'd swear the dust had just settled.
To our modern eyes, this looks like a harmless, meandering river, and these are just gently rolling hills. But to a family getting ready to cross the Idaho leg of the Oregon Trail, these were dreaded obstacles. Thomas Fork with its steep bank and soft bottom, then the long and tedious climb up the big hill.
When I was a little kid, I could always imagine these wagons coming up over these hills. I could almost feel the spirit of them coming up here.
It was a spirit of determination. Maven Sparks calls it gumption. He knows about all there is to know about the Oregon Trail. Remember these steep banks? Maven says this was the inspiration for an early days toll bridge.
As I understand, they went and got two big logs and laid across, and they'd roll the wheels across on these two logs. And they charge $1 a wagon to cross it.
A lot of money in those days. But one of the few treats of the Oregon Trail was free and just ahead, Soda Springs. Here, immigrants could enjoy carbonated spring water that some said tasted like beer. But for the real thing, weary pioneers looked forward to a stop at the Fort Hall Trading Post. This replica near Pocatello gives you an idea of what it was like when thousands of immigrants sought rest and supplies. One of the amazing things about the Oregon Trail is its ability to feed your imagination. Spend a few minutes reading the names of immigrants at Register Rock. At this point, they'd traveled over 1,000 miles, covering just 20 miles on a good day. Lyle Woodbury owns his own Oregon Trail memories. The trail passes smack dab through his ranch near Burley. The axle grease that pinned this graffiti had staying power.
Williams, Siemens, July 5th, 1849.
This summer, Lyle will open his ranch to the public. You'll be able to see for yourself this bit of history that just keeps unfolding.
We were over here on this butte last week, and we found a stretch of the Oregon Trail.
As you can see, the Oregon Trail never gets old to the folks who live in these parts.
We're walking right where the wagons went. You can just imagine what it'd be like to bounce up over all these rocks with an iron-tired wagon and not know where you was going or what was ahead of you.
But this summer, people are going to try it again. This is Idaho's official sesquicentennial wagon. It will cross Idaho in a border-to-border trek across the old Pioneer Highway. Bud Allen has become an expert on the Oregon Trail. He lives near Three Island Crossing, considered the most dangerous river crossing for Oregon Trail pioneers. Bud says this official wagon is a beauty, equipped with a luxury option.
This is just typical country that those people had to come across, and it isn't smooth. This wagon has got springs on the seat, and a lot of them that come across probably wouldn't have had.
As a matter of fact, most people walked rather than put up with the constant jolt of a springless wagon.
This is a bolt that's used on an iron-tired wagon to help hold the rim onto the wooden wheel.
More evidence of the bumpy ride. Bert Silcock says you can find amazing artifacts along the trail just a few miles southeast of Boise. Take these old solder-top cans, for example. They're everywhere. The pioneers weren't worried about littering. Obviously, they had more important things on their minds, like getting to the Boise River.
As you come off of Bonneville Point, there's 6 or 7 different trails where they were coming off together as a kind of a company front because they were trying to get out of the dust, out of the wind, and get to the water.
Bert is the wagon master for this summer's sesquicentennial wagon train. You'll be able to see wagons heading over this hill for Boise toward the end of July. They're even inviting you to go along on this historic event. The entire trip will give modern-day Oregon trekkers just a taste of what it took to blaze the Western Trail 150 years ago, when looking out over the vast and rugged West was easy on the eyes, but hard on the body and soul.
I have a lot of feeling of admiration for these people that had gumption enough to come out here and do this.
How people ever had the fortitude to stand this trip, I'll never know.
Sadly, all the people interviewed for that story have since passed. They've even put an end to the 3-island crossing that usually they held every year in Glenns Ferry.